48 hours ago, we found something quite remarkable.
What'd they find?
There's a structure.
In Antarctica.
And a specimen.
Really?
Touching down.
This is Kate Lloyd's Columbia Paleontology.
Let me show you why you flew 10,000 miles. We estimate it's been here 100,000 years.
I'm going to take a tissue sample.
Do you really think that's a good idea?
Yes, I do. You, my friends, will all be immortalized as the people who made this discovery.
Get up off that thing!
Listen, let me start out by saying I don't trust none of you motherfuckers.
Right? Oh, now you don't?
well, especially
More.
now.
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, I trust that cat. You know what? I don't even trust that cat.
I don't trust the cat. You know how I am with cats.
I don't trust any movie that absorbs the name of the previous movie.
Right.
You know, it doesn't say like The Thing 2 or Thing, The Revenge or anything. It's like it's a so-called prequel, but yet it has the same name and from what I can see, looks exactly like the same movie. This movie absorbed John Carpenter's The Thing.
It is weird, though, because it's a prequel, not a sequel.
And it is very much
you
a
had
prequel.
Two options. You could go The Thing 0, which is gay, or you could do The Thing : something.
The beginning.
And everybody hates that shit.
Yeah,
I hate that
I hate
shit.
that.
And that was really literally what the producers said, was that it's like, come on, man, everybody hates
They could have easily
Just
just
gonna call
dropped
it The
the.
Thing.
Yeah, just drop the
Just
and just
call it
have
Thing.
thing.
Then everybody would have thought it was a movie about that hand from the Addams Family.
Damn.
I would like to see that movie, actually.
In fact, I think that hand got a lawyer and it's like trying to sue the rich, still trying to sue John Carpenter's The Thing. Motherfucker, I'm the thing.
And Ben Grimm is there too. Like, hey, I was here first, pal.
Thing 1 and a Thing 2.
Yeah, from Dr. Seuss.
I see a lawyer's office now with a hand, a big rock man, and Thing 1 and Thing 2 from Dr. Seuss. And this guy's like, what am I supposed to do with this? Well, do something. That's what we hire you for, Saul. But
Is this movie a piece of shit or what? Because I am so fucking nervous about this review. Like, ever since I heard this movie was coming out, I've been on the edge
What
of
you
the
nervous
toilet,
about, Cole?
nervous as
Honestly,
hell.
I felt bad.
that they're going to fuck up everything that I care for and love.
co-host was upset because, first of all, during Fantastic Fest, there was rumor that they were supposed to show the thing there, and they decided not to. Again, this is all rumor.
It wasn't
Right.
rumor. Tim Lee flat out said it.
I'm saying because I don't know.
No, he said it in interviews. It's been printed. I mean, I've read the interviews on the internet where he said, "Yes, we screened the thing because they wanted them to show it at Fantastic Fest," and they said, "I don't really want to say much about the movie except we thought it wasn't a good film to play at Fantastic."
Yeah, so instead they play Paranormal Activity 3,
Right.
which
I
makes
know.
completely another sense.
Well, okay. Now, as much as I love and respect Tim League, our opinions tend to differ rather drastically a lot of the time, and this is going to be one of those.
Well, I
matters.
remember looking at co-host and like co-host thought like, like somebody had just insulted his friend. He's like, what's wrong with the thing? They can't show it here. What do they mean? It ain't good enough.
Yeah, because I was like, you know what, please, just show it already so I can fucking just see the thing.
Okay, now-
and be done with
But
it.
the problem here, co-host, is that you want a definite answer. I mean, does it kick ass or does it suck ass?
Yeah, but there is no definite answer.
And there's no definite. You're not going to walk away from this satisfied.
Because coming out of this film, I encountered a gaggle of critics.
No shit.
Like,
I had to walk through that gauntlet too.
I know, and they were like divided on it. They were fighting about it,
Wow.
whether or not it was a good movie.
Oh, okay. Well, by the time I got out there, all
was it just
all
kvetching?
the people who liked it were gone.
Oh, okay. Because I'm sorry, I actually fall on the side of liking it. I liked this movie, but I can see why some of the people came in with expectations for a very different movie than what this ended up.
And the
being.
problem is there's a lot of people who had expectations, but they won't admit to themselves they had expectations.
I mean,
because when they told me what they didn't like about the movie, I'm like, that's clear that you're talking about the first movie.
Let's
that it's not
be
doing
clear.
that.
The
Wow.
original is a classic, if not the definitive, like bottle film
Yeah.
of the paranoia bottle film.
Fuck
a
yes,
bunch
it
of
is.
people closed in a place they can't escape from, and one of them is a killer. And it's also a classic of practical special effects. I mean, when you talk about like actual people getting in there and building super elaborate, like made out of latex and plastic models that just look astonishing. I mean, come on.
That movie was a pioneer of it, yeah.
Pioneer of it. One of the most astonishing films of that
and
ever.
this does not. It's not going to unseat it.
Yeah, I remember watching the original thing, man, and well, not the original because that was like 1950 something.
Yeah.
The Thing from Another World.
Which is also a really good movie, but in a different way.
I was kind of bored by that one, but when they got to like John Carpenter's The Thing, I remember being a kid and there's a scene where the creature in that movie is absorbing like this dog, and knowing then there wasn't any CG, that shit looked real. I was mad because I was like, man, they killed that dog.
It looked like real dogs getting killed.
Like, that's not special effects. No way. They murdered that dog. In fact, they went to Area 51, got an alien to kill this dog. That looks too good.
It was like one of those things where it looked like you were really watching a crime happening on screen.
Being as a prequel, they want to find out what happened to the Norwegian team that discovered this alien creature before we see the events of Kurt Russell and the rest of those guys in John Carpenter's film, which came out, 1983?
I think so.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
I want to say it was 82.
Actually, would have been 82 because they say it the date.
It was 82.
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay, so you've got the story taking place probably a few days before some Norwegians stumbling upon, right in the beginning, they literally stumble upon as their ice crawler falls through a giant crack in the ice and gets
fantastic
wedged.
effect they do with that too.
Yeah, but right below them is a gigantic alien spacecraft. Next thing you know, we're back in America and you're seeing like this Norwegian scientist who's shopping for other scientists basically to come bring back there to start investigating this. And he's talking to, what's her name?
Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
So he's like, well, yeah, we need you to come back and take a look at this thing. All I can tell you is that we found a giant structure in the ice in Antarctica and we found a body.
She's a paleontologist. He's like, I need you. Can't tell nobody. I'm not going to tell you nothing. You just got to come out here and see it.
Having seen the thing, you're holding back from screaming at the screen. Don't do it!
Right.
Don't go to that Jurassic Park island instead. It'll be better. And they go flying out there and they investigate. Turns out they found this giant fucking alien body in the ice right near it too. They bring it back to their station and there are all these guys there. There's like a bunch of Norwegians. There's a couple helicopter pilots that are American, played by Joel Edgerton and
out of BC from Oz.
Yeah, out of BC from Oz. Yeah, thank you. That's his name.
I'm not even trying to say his name.
Adewale. Okay, John.
Mr. Echo.
Yeah, Mr. Echo. There you go.
There you go.
And so they're like, wow, this is fantastic. We found alien life. Let's party. And the thing busts out of the ice. Disappears. From there on, you've got a long period of basically a movie like the original Thing for a while where you're watching people go, how do we know who's actually this thing, as the female scientist discovers that it in fact can clone cells, that it takes people's cells, takes them over, and then imitates them.
What are those?
I think they're fillings from someone's teeth. I found them by a puddle of blood in the shower.
Puddle of blood.
It can clone cells, but not inorganic material. It couldn't copy these, so it spit them out.
We wasted too much time already. Lars!
Listen! When I went back to check it, someone had cleaned up the blood. Someone had wiped it away. All right, so whatever it is still here.
There's a moment that it feels like it's just going to go down the same path from there on out.
Right.
But it doesn't. It goes a different way entirely, because there's that point where it suddenly goes, you know what? People have already seen The Thing. Let's make this just a flat-out monster chase movie. And that, in my mind, is where the film made a really good decision.
It's one of those things where, it's almost like it realizes, like, look, there's no way we can do that. We can't pull that off again.
Yeah.
So let's just make a good monster movie.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll set our sights lower and focus on our strengths, and from that it works. Plenty of scares. Made us jump a bunch.
Reminded me of kind of Slither in a way that it was like just these really bizarre effects that you're like, wow, that is strange. It doesn't look real, in the sense that you're like, okay, I know that CG I'm looking at, and most of the time, although they do use some practical in this, but it's so creative and it's so fucking nasty.
Well, that's the thing. Like one of the best practical effects they have is before things really get going, where they open it up and dissect the creature. Well, I think that's they kill it and they open it up to find out
which I'm familiar with the original.
Yeah, and that scene, like what they do with the effects there, that's award winning. It looked so real.
All I've heard was CGs, because I think even Tim League mentioned something about that, about just the CG looking terrible.
You know what? This is the same company that did District 9. Okay.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. So people keep talking about the CG like that, and I keep saying, I'm sorry, you must have been looking for the practical effects movie that is the original The Thing. Yeah, a lot of it is CG. Not all of it is perfect CG, but a lot of it is fucking great.
Some of it looks really good, and some of it doesn't. It's just that when they dissect it, it's all practical, and that looks awesome.
I was with you at Footloose. I didn't see the movie. I walked in for about 5 minutes. When I went in there and watched that 5 minutes, I happened to catch a CG part. And I'm not holding this against the movie at all, because I don't like to hold special effects against a movie that will engage me. But that little bit of CG that I saw, it looked bad. But it probably looked bad because it was an alien body with all these different appendages coming out of it, and in the center of it was one human head. And that human head seemed to like...
That was probably-
I thought that was probably the worst.
Okay, that human head seemed like it was just floating.
Because it starts out with that one straight up practical effect. Then you can start to see like, okay, they're using practical with CG. Okay, now they're using just CG. And then by the end, it's that effect you saw, which I'm like, okay, that I actually don't like at all.
I have to say
it's
that by
too much. It's overwrought.
Well, you know
They've
what?
gone crazy with it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, interrupt you. I was just going to say, and even then, I'm going to be like, well, at the end of John Carpenter's The Thing, we started out with great practical great practical effects, and then by the end of it, they had some of the worst stop motion I'd ever seen.
Right. True. I mean, that happens. The problems with the movie begin with where it starts to fall short early on is the characters, because you got a bunch of Swedes out there. Don't really get to know many of them.
No.
So when they get bumped
Barely.
off, you don't really feel it. And even like the American actors, you don't really know them. I mean, who you really know is Mary Elizabeth Winstead and the guy who hired her, who's kind of an asshole.
And presumably Joel Edgerton, because it's clear early on, hey, that's Joel Edgerton, so